Um, Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ronaldo, and today I will be covering social worker social workers' involvement within social justice problems that we have currently going on in today's society. A quote that I found by the University of UC that's located in New York um talks about with 2020 more than halfway over. There are currently challenges that social workers are currently facing. For many, it might feel like there are still more concerns to some. The COVID-19 pandemic has triggered a historic economic downturn, leaving millions unemployed, and Black Lives Matter protests um, have have gone crazy. Discussions about systematic racism, inequality, as well as police reform, in addition to the topics that dominate the headlines, long-term issues such as the food insecurity and climate justice are still ongoing. The list of social issues in the U.S. and around the global 2020 can be overwhelming, which is true, right? Not only we're currently facing the pandemic, which is still going on, but there's also other issues that no one really covers because they are important, but mostly COVID-19 has been taking over the majority of like the news outlets and stuff like that. But other issues that we're currently facing are like the climate. For instance, the Australian one that's like been the biggest one since then, but there's still a little issues around it, and just having liking the like resources and stuff like that. So, what are the currently the issues that we're facing in 2020? So, there are many issues that in today's society we're facing. So, in the current pandemic that made our lives different in many ways, making us adapt to something we have never faced before. And with everything going on, like even some of us are barely getting to adjust to how we're currently living. Everything may seem weird to us, like the whole mask thing. Sometimes it could get annoying, but that's just for our protection. Um, so yeah. Um, so the three topics, the main things I want to discuss in today is racial injustice, healthcare, and climate justice. So the first one is racial injustice. So the United States has been suffering from racism for many years now, to this day, and it continues. Like the recent event from George Floyd, right, which happened not too long ago, and it impacted the world big as it seemed like or was it like three policemen, um, you know, they knew what they were trying to do, which was hurt the man, and it ended up killing the man. So the National Association of Social Workers has a long-term effect that racism has on people, leaving them with scare during times like these, which is true, right? With things like this going on, from George Floyd, it has some people like scared going out. When it comes to facing like like the police or something like that, and it leaves them with like a scare. So a quote that I found is racism has a long history in the United States, and its impact can be found in every facet of education, business, media, and day-to-day life. After the killing of George Floyd in Minnesota and several other high-profile police shootings, Black Lives Matter protests took place across the country and have continued as activists demand sustainable change. So yeah, so we can see a big effect not just here in the United States, but other people around the world have also taken stands for it, since it did have a big impact. Another quote that I found was many social workers are too aware of the devastating and long-term consequences of racial injustice on the mental and physical health of individuals. And more recently, the NASW has vocalized its importance for federal legislations that would enact police reform and address systematic racism with the criminal. So yes, the social workers are like they are aware of what's going on. They're trying their best to figure out solutions for those who who are just out there. They won't get affected by it. The next main point I want to cover is healthcare, right? So it seems like the U.S. is challenging to provide good quality healthcare, and how to spend a lot of money compared to other countries who don't, right? So it seems like the U.S. is spending a lot of money on healthcare, right? Which it's good enough, but maybe we're overpaying for it. And the quote I found is social work and healthcare are intricately tied together. There are a number of challenges when it comes to receiving quality healthcare, particularly in the U.S. Despite the passage of the Affordable Care Act in 2010, gaps in coverage remain, particularly with mental health resources. The U.S. spends more on healthcare for individuals than any other country, but the increase in the expenditure has not translated to the high life expenses for Americans. So yeah, we obviously have the healthcare here. It's above other countries, right? Which I imagine don't pay as much, which don't cover as much as we have to cover. So these social organizations try their best to support their local groups and entire communities, but ever since the COVID-19 has been going on, they're trying their best. So what I mean by this is communities, even before COVID-19, communities would struggle, for little things, but ever since the COVID-19 hit, it makes problems even worse now. So another quote I found is social workers offer support to their individuals, groups, and entire communities. So it matters whether one person is struggling or whether an entire community is struggling to find the care they need. This year, the COVID-19 pandemic has shown just how healthcare really is many trying to help as many communities struggles to access tests, treatment, and mental health professionals. So yeah, local communities try their best to help those who don't have enough, or not have enough, but like who don't have the needs to be covered for COVID-19, such and such. So another main point I want to cover is the climate justice. So one of the lists of social workers' great challenges, it might be surprising to see. So to strengthen social responses to the environmental changes. The effects of climate change can be seen all over, from the wilderness of Australia to record-breaking temps in the Antarctica. So yeah, so meeting the right um yeah. So we can see the Australian one, which happened also not too long ago, made a big impact on the environment. But not just that, the Antarctica one as well. But even like big events like this, small events can also occur to something big. Um, so one quote I found is one recent paper found that polar bears could be nearly extinct by the end of the century. Right? This might be like the problem for scientists, not social workers, but the climate change can be a strain on resources and impact the well-being of entire communities. In reality, addressing climate justice can positively affect many of the other issues on the list, and social workers have the network and skills to mobilize and educate others in the impact. So yeah, so for an event like this, right, it might not be the social workers uh how do you say problem, more of the scientists, but still the social workers can try their best to make some type of change. So concluding all, although we may be going through some difficult times right now, we can still try our best, um, as a community, be more aware of what's going on, right? Yeah, the pandemic is going on, but many of us don't also see the little things that come with it, right? So that concludes my speech. Yeah, thank you.